Imagine standing in a wide open landscape millions of years ago, looking up at the sky and seeing a flying creature with wings wider than a small airplane slowly gliding above you. It sounds like something straight out of a fantasy movie, but this animal was real, and it once ruled the skies of ancient North America. Meet Quetzalcoatlus, the largest flying animal scientists have ever discovered. This incredible creature lived around 68 to 66 million years ago during the final chapter of the age of dinosaurs. And the size of this flying giant is almost impossible to imagine. Some estimates suggest that its wingspan may have reached around 10 to 11 meters, which is roughly the same width as a small airplane wing. That means if you stretched its wings across a basketball court, they would nearly reach from one side to the other. But here's the part that surprises most people. Despite its enormous size, this creature was not a bird, and it wasn't a dinosaur either. It belonged to a completely different group of flying reptiles called pterosaur, which lived alongside dinosaurs but evolved on their own path. Pterosaurs were the first vertebrates ever to achieve powered flight, millions of years before birds appeared. Among all pterosaurs, Quetzalcoatlus was the true giant, and its discovery changed the way scientists think about how big flying animals can actually become. The story of this incredible creature begins in the 1970s in a remote part of Texas, inside a fossil-rich area known as Big Bend National Park. In 1971, a graduate student named Douglas A. Lawson was searching for fossils when he came across something strange sticking out of the rock. At first, he thought it might belong to a dinosaur, but as more bones were uncovered, it became clear that this was something very different. The bones were incredibly thin, hollow, and lightweight, perfect for flight, but they were also unbelievably large. When scientists reconstructed the skeleton, they realized they had discovered one of the biggest flying creatures ever known. Lawson named the animal Quetzalcoatlus, inspired by Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god from Aztec civilization mythology. The name was fitting because this creature truly looked like something mythical. Its long neck, massive wings, and towering height made it unlike anything alive today. In fact, when standing on the ground, Quetzalcoatlus may have been as tall as a giraffe, reaching heights of around 5 to 6 meters when its neck was fully extended. That means if one stood next to you, its head might easily look down at the roof of a house. But what really made Quetzalcoatlus special was its wings. Instead of feathers like birds, pterosaurs had wings made from a thin membrane of skin and muscle that stretched between their body and an extremely long fourth finger. Think of it like a bat wing, but far larger and stronger. This wing structure allowed Quetzalcoatlus to glide across huge distances while using very little energy. Scientists believe it was an expert at soaring flight, similar to modern birds like the albatross. Rather than constantly flapping its wings, it likely rode warm air currents, gliding smoothly across ancient landscapes. And those landscapes looked very different from today. During the time Quetzalcoatlus lived, much of North America was divided by a huge inland sea called the Western Interior Seaway. This enormous body of water split the continent into two land masses for millions of years. Around the shores of this ancient sea lived countless prehistoric creatures. Massive dinosaurs walked the land, strange reptiles swam in the ocean, and above it all, giant pterosaurs like Quetzalcoatlus ruled the skies. For a long time, scientists assumed that Quetzalcoatlus lived mainly near water and fed on fish, similar to modern seabirds. But newer research has challenged that idea. Its long, stiff neck and sharp beak suggest it may have actually hunted on land. Some paleontologists believe Quetzalcoatlus behaved more like a giant stork. Instead of diving into water, it may have walked across plains and forests, snapping up small animals such as lizards, baby dinosaurs, insects, and small mammals. Imagine a creature the height of a giraffe slowly walking across a prehistoric landscape, suddenly lowering its head to grab prey from the ground. It must have been an incredible sight. One of the most fascinating things about Quetzalcoatlus is how it might have hunted and moved on the ground. Scientists believe it could walk on all fours, using its wings like front legs to support its massive body. Imagine it striding across the ancient plains, scanning for prey with its long, pointed beak. Some researchers even suggest it could have used its neck like a crane, striking down at smaller animals from a surprising distance. While soaring in the air would have been effortless, walking on land may have been just as important for finding food, nesting sites, or avoiding other predators. And speaking of predators, Quetzalcoatlus didn't live in isolation. It shared its environment with giant dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus rex and enormous herbivores such as Triceratops. The skies gave it a huge advantage. It could spot danger from far away and glide out of reach with ease. Some scientists even suggest that it may have scavenged on carcasses left behind by large predators, similar to modern vultures, while also hunting small animals on the ground. But the biggest mystery scientists once faced was this: how could something so enormous even take off from the ground? For years, researchers struggled to explain it. After all, modern flying animals are far smaller. Even the largest flying bird today, the wandering albatross, has a wingspan of around 3.5 meters. That's only about 1/3 of the wingspan estimated for Quetzalcoatlus. So how did such a giant get airborne? The answer came from studying its skeleton more closely. Scientists discovered that pterosaurs had extremely powerful front limbs. Instead of launching into the air like birds using only their back legs, pterosaurs likely used a 4-limb launch system. They would crouch down, push off the ground with both their legs and powerful wings, and then leap into the air in a powerful motion. This launch method may have allowed Quetzalcoatlus to become airborne in just seconds. Once in the air, its huge wings could carry it for hundreds of kilometers while gliding on air currents. Some researchers even suggest it could travel across entire regions without landing. But despite all we've learned, many mysteries about Quetzalcoatlus remain unsolved. For example, scientists still don't fully know how heavy it was. Early estimates suggested it weighed around 200 kilograms, but newer studies propose it may have been much lighter, possibly between 70 and 150 kilograms. That may sound surprising for such a huge creature, but remember that pterosaur bones were extremely hollow and lightweight, similar to bird bones. Another mystery is its exact appearance. Unlike dinosaurs, which sometimes preserve fossilized skin or feathers, pterosaur fossils are often incomplete. Scientists believe Quetzalcoatlus may have had a large head crest, similar to some other pterosaurs. This crest could have been used for display, helping individuals recognize each other or attract mates. But since no fully preserved skull crest has been found, the exact shape is still debated. Even its lifestyle is still being studied. Did it migrate across continents? Did it live alone or in groups? Did it spend most of its time walking on land or soaring high above the clouds? Each new fossil discovery helps scientists get a little closer to the answers. One thing is certain, though: Quetzalcoatlus lived during the very end of the Cretaceous period, a time when Earth was full of giant animals. But this incredible era didn't last forever. Around 66 million years ago, a massive asteroid struck Earth in an event known as the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction event. The impact caused global fires, dust clouds, and climate changes that wiped out about 75% of all species on Earth. Dinosaurs disappeared, many marine reptiles vanished, and the giant pterosaurs, including Quetzalcoatlus, also went extinct. After that event, no flying animal ever reached the same enormous size again. Birds eventually took over the skies, but they never grew wings as large as those of the giant pterosaurs. Even today, Quetzalcoatlus remains one of the most impressive animals that ever lived. It reminds us that Earth's history was once filled with creatures far stranger and more incredible than anything alive today. Imagine standing on the ancient plains of Texas 68 million years ago. The ground shakes as dinosaurs walk in the distance. The warm wind moves across the landscape, and suddenly, a shadow passes over you. You look up, and a giant with wings wider than a small airplane silently glides across the sky. That was Quetzalcoatlus, one of the most extraordinary flying animals our planet has ever seen.